Listen closely. Do you hear it? That pulse under your skin, that quiet vibration in the back of your mind, the one that's been whispering to you since long before you had the words to understand it. The one that kept saying you're not like them. The one that told you they'd never be able to handle you if they ever got close enough to feel what you really are. But then the world came along, wrapped its cold hands around your fire, and tried to force you into a shape that wasn't meant for you. Stay in your lane, they said. Don't push too far. Don't step too deep. Don't show too much. Oh, they wanted you controlled, contained, predictable, because if you ever stopped holding back, if you ever let even a fraction of your real power slip through the cracks, they knew things would break that could never be put back together. They wanted you tame for a reason, because your untamed self is lethal to their illusions. They convinced you that you were ordinary, another pair of hands in their machine, another voice they didn't have to fear. But tell me, have you ever felt that spark under your ribs, that pressure in your chest, that strange electric tension crawling up your spine when you're around people who underestimate you? That's not anxiety. That's not insecurity. That is power trying to push its way through your polite surface. That is instinct sharpening itself on the bones of every moment they tried to suppress you. They spent years pouring water over your fire, silencing your instincts, smothering your intuition with doubt, because they sensed something in you you never learned to sense in yourself. Something raw, something untamed, something that would rewrite the entire dynamic if you ever let it breathe. And the best part? They feel it anyway. Even when you're quiet, even when you're holding back, even when you don't understand why people react to you the way they do. Oh, you've seen it, haven't you? The way their eyes flicker the moment you lock on to them, the way their posture shifts when you walk in, the way their voice tightens. By a degree they hope you don't notice. They try to cover it, try to smile through it, try to pretend you don't unsteady something deep inside them. But they can't hide instinct. Their bodies betray truth long before their mouths do. Something about you shakes the foundation of their illusion of control, because they feel what you haven't fully grasped yet. You are dangerous in ways they don't have language for. It's not your words. It's not your behavior. It's not even your choices. It's your existence, the way you move without asking, the way you think without permission, the way you stand without shrinking. You don't fit the mold, the pattern, the expectation. They watch you the way people watch storms on the horizon, beautiful, unpredictable, and capable of destroying whatever isn't built strong enough to withstand truth. They can't categorize you. They can't predict you. They can't bind you into the narrative they use to control everyone else. And what people cannot control, they fear. Not because you're violent, not because you're loud, not because you threaten them with force. No, that would be too simple. They fear you because you cannot be owned, because you carry a freedom that exposes their captivity, because you don't need their approval to breathe. That's what terrifies them. That's why they stare too long, then look away too fast. That's why their praise sounds shaky and their criticism sounds desperate. That's why someone got too close to you once, too emotionally close, too intuitively close, too energetically close. And the moment they brushed against the part of you that isn't afraid, that isn't fragile, that isn't small, something inside them recoiled like their soul touched a live wire. They felt the savage, the one you didn't know you were still carrying, the one you thought you buried under politeness and restraint and being appropriate enough to survive the world they forced on you. But that part of you didn't die. It waited. It sharpened itself silently. It watched. It learned the shape of your strength before you even noticed it was growing. So when they stepped too close, when they tried to read you, control you, analyze you, they felt something ancient rise in you. Not rage, not chaos, but awareness. The kind of awareness that cuts deeper than any blade. The kind of awareness that shows people exactly where their masks are cracking. That's when they felt fear. Not the fear of danger, but the fear of revelation. The fear that you see too much. The fear that you cannot be fooled. The fear that your silence is not emptiness, it is calculation. Weak people don't fear being hurt. They fear being seen. And you, knowingly or not, force people to see themselves. That is why they react the way they react around you. That is why their voice changes. That is why their energy stutters. That is why they keep you at a distance while obsessively watching you at the same time. You are a glitch in the matrix they've built around themselves. A loose thread in their carefully woven safety nets of self-delusion. They built this world for followers, for repeaters, for people who mistake submission for maturity. They built it for minds they can bribe with validation, distract with noise, numb with routine. But you don't fit anywhere in that system. You question, you observe, you peel back layers with a single look. And that makes you a threat even before you ever choose to be one. That's why they want you dull. That's why they want you hesitant. That's why they want you confused about your own strength. Because as long as you don't understand your power, they can pretend it doesn't exist. But the moment you even suspect what you are capable of, the entire game shifts. Once you feel even a fragment of your true force, once you stop bending your nature into shapes meant for smaller people, once you stop apologizing for the way your energy unsettles their comfort, everything changes, and they know it. They know it when you survive something that should have broken you. They know it when you don't flinch at the things that send them spiraling. They know it when you recover faster than they expect. They know it when your silence carries more force than their shouting. They know it when your stillness feels like a storm they cannot predict. They've been studying you longer than you think, not out of admiration, out of caution. Because people who rely on control are always the most afraid of the one person in the room who doesn't need to be controlled. They hide it behind niceness, behind passive compliments, behind shallow curiosity. But you've seen the truth in their eyes. That brief flash of instinct, that primal recognition, that moment they realize you're not one of them and can never be made into one of them. They've tricked you for years, telling you real power sits in status, in money, in titles, in visibility. They told you power is something you earn, but only through them, something you receive, but only with their approval, something you express, but only when they feel comfortable. All a lie, all a brilliant strategy to keep you small while feeding your hunger for acceptance just enough to keep you obedient. Because if you ever stopped needing their approval, their entire illusion would collapse. Real power is not how much you own. It's how little of you can be owned. Real power is not how many people follow you. It's how deeply you know yourself when no one claps. Real power is not in the noise you make. It's in the silence others fear. Your power isn't explosive. It's invasive. It slips under skin. It disarms people without touching them. It exposes the fractures they hide. It reveals their insecurity through their reactions to you. And that makes you untouchable in ways you haven't even begun to understand. You think they avoid you because you're intimidating? No, they avoid you because being around you activates the part of themselves they've been running from. You are the mirror they dread. The reminder of everything they could have been if they hadn't surrendered to weakness. That's why they call you too intense or too much or different. Different is their code word for I cannot handle you. But here's the moment everything shifts. The second you stop believing their words and start reading their reactions instead. The second you realize that every whisper against you is proof of the impact you have. The second you stop minimizing your intuition and start recognizing it as the weapon it has always been. And now you're standing right there, at the edge of the truth they hoped you'd never touch. Because once you step over that edge, once you finally see yourself not through their insecurities, but through your own clarity, something irreversible happens. You can never unsee the power you've been carrying. You can never go back to pretending your presence doesn't alter the temperature of every room. You can never return to a version of yourself that didn't understand why people react to you, with fear disguised as irritation, envy disguised as advice, discomfort disguised as concern. Suddenly you start noticing how their eyes shift before their mouths form words. Suddenly you feel the hesitation in their energy before they even open their mouths. Suddenly you understand that all those strange moments where people treated you like a threat without reason were never misunderstandings. They were instincts, their instincts, reacting to your truth. A truth you're just now waking up to. You start replaying memories, don't you? Moments that never made sense until now. Moments where someone stepped too close to you, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and something in them recoiled. They didn't recoil from you. They recoiled from what they felt inside you. That quiet force, that unshakable calm, that depth that doesn't fit into anyone's expectations. They felt the savage beneath your restraint, the one you didn't unleash intentionally, the one that rises the moment someone tries to control you, belittle you, manipulate you, the one that watches silently, studies quietly, calculates with precision while they think you're just being polite. Somebody got too close once, far closer than they should have, and without meaning to, they brushed against the edge of your real nature. Not the version you show the world, not the version you hide behind, not the version you dilute for the comfort of the weak. No, they touched the version that doesn't bow, doesn't break, doesn't tolerate nonsense. The version of you that recognizes danger before danger recognizes itself. The version that doesn't need to raise its voice to be heard. The version that doesn't need to fight to win. The version that carries a silent authority that cannot be taught, bought, or stolen. The version of you that has survived more than anyone knows. And the moment they felt it, even for a split second, they panicked. Not outwardly, not dramatically. The panic was internal, a sudden tightening in their chest, a flicker in their pupils, a micro shiver in the energy around them. Their instincts realize it's something their mind couldn't process. You are not meant to be touched casually. You are not meant to be understood easily. You are not meant to be handled by those who haven't mastered themselves. People like them cannot hold energy like yours without breaking something in themselves. And you felt it too, didn't you? Not as aggression, not as anger, but as a subtle shift in your core, a tightening, a sharpening, a moment where your intuition stood taller than your body. You didn't change. You remembered. You didn't attack. You revealed. The savage wasn't unleashed in violence, it was unleashed in awareness. The awareness that you don't need to defend yourself to be defended by something older and deeper inside you. The awareness that whatever you are made of cannot be manipulated, cannot be weakened, cannot be controlled. The awareness that your power is not in what you do, but in what you are. And that is why they fear you. Because when you stand in your power, they feel exposed. When you stand in your truth, they feel unstable. When you stop apologizing for your intensity, they start apologizing for their existence. Your presence forces them to confront the version of themselves they've been avoiding. Your power reminds them of everything they surrendered, their ambition, their potential, their courage, their authenticity. You become a mirror they cannot bear to look into, because your strength reflects their weakness. Your clarity dissolves their illusions. Your composure dismantles their superiority. Your energy calls out the lies they tell themselves just to sleep at night. And here's the irony. They keep trying to convince you that you're the problem, that you're too much, that you're intimidating, that you're difficult, that you're intense. But intensity is only overwhelming to those who have none. Power only feels threatening to those who lack it. Depth only feels dangerous to those who are drowning in their own shallowness. What they call too much is exactly what makes you untouchable. What they label as dangerous is exactly what gives you the advantage. What they whisper about as savage is exactly what keeps you from being swallowed by the world that thrives on conformity. And now that you've reached this point, the point where your intuition is louder than their manipulation, where your clarity is sharper than their judgment, where your presence is stronger than their influence, the entire landscape changes. You start seeing how predictable they really are, how fragile their confidence is, how easily their masks crack under pressure. You start noticing the tremor in their voice when they speak to you, the exaggerated warmth in their tone, the sudden attempts to appear confident, knowing your eyes pierce through the act instantly. You start noticing how they adjust themselves around you, straighten their posture, change their tone, monitor their expressions, because your awareness makes them hyper-aware of their own flaws. And that's when you finally understand. The fear they carry is not about what you might do to them. The fear is about what you might see in them, what you might expose without even trying, what truth you might pull from beneath their carefully curated persona. Because your presence doesn't destroy them, it reveals them. And people fear revelation more than danger. You have no idea how powerful you are, but their reactions spell it out. Their discomfort spells it out. Their fascination spells it out. Their envy spells it out. Their silence spells it out. You are the type of person that forces reality to rearrange itself. The type of person that destabilizes illusions without uttering a word. The type of person who carries a gravity other people orbit around, whether they want to or not. And the moment you stop shrinking, the moment you stop doubting, the moment you stop hiding your strength beneath politeness, that gravity becomes undeniable. That's why the world tried so hard to shrink you. Not because you were weak, because you were too strong for their narrative to handle. Not because they didn't see your value, but because they feared what would happen if you saw it. Not because they wanted you small, but because they knew the moment you stepped into your real power, you would no longer fit into their hands, their rules, their limits. And right now, this very moment, you're standing in the doorway of something irreversible, an awakening that cannot be undone. The beginning of a version of you that terrifies anyone still living in fear. The rise of the person you were always meant to become, but were too conditioned to believe you weren't allowed to be. And the wildest part? You haven't even unleashed yourself yet. You've only stopped suppressing. And even that was enough to make them shiver. Because the moment you stop dimming yourself, the world must confront the brightness you've been hiding, the depth you've been minimizing, the power you've been pretending not to feel. And when that power even slightly leaks out, even accidentally, even unconsciously, It hits people in ways they don't understand. It disrupts their emotional equilibrium. It rattles their self-image. It exposes the cracks in their confidence. They feel your presence, the way animals feel a shift in the atmosphere before a storm. Instinctively, involuntarily, without logic or explanation. Their body reacts before their mind can rationalize, and suddenly they're either drawn to you or terrified of you. Sometimes both at the same time. And you've seen it. That look people give you when your mask slips just a little. When your tone sharpens without raising your voice. When your eyes harden without anger. When your energy shifts from passive to inevitable. That's the moment they feel the savage, not a creature of chaos or violence, but the core of you that refuses to be touched, reshaped, or owned by anyone. The part of you carved from fire, not fear. The part that stands unbent in storms designed to break lesser minds. The part that sees through deception with embarrassing ease. The part that survived what was meant to destroy you and came back with knowledge instead of scars. This is the part of you they hoped would never wake. Because once awakened, once recognized, once accepted, it becomes impossible to manipulate you, trick you, belittle you, or intimidate you. People can control someone who doubts themselves. They can't control someone who sees themselves. And that's where the danger begins for them. Not because you are dangerous, but because their entire strategy relied on your blindness. Once you reclaim your vision, their illusions fall apart like cheap fabric. And make no mistake, they feel this shift before you even announce it. They sense your awakening in your silence, in your posture, in the way you no longer entertain nonsense, in the way you observe instead of react, in the way you detach instead of justify, in the way you walk away instead of defend yourself to people who don't deserve explanations. This makes them uneasy because it signals something monumental. You are no longer seeking permission to exist. You are no longer shrinking for their comfort. You are no longer negotiating with your own worth just to be tolerated. And the moment someone who was once underestimated stops negotiating, the power dynamic flips instantly. Suddenly, they're the ones careful with their words. Suddenly, they're the ones overthinking their tone. Suddenly, they're the ones trying not to trigger something in you they can't contain. Suddenly, they're the ones tiptoeing, unsure how to handle the new version of you. But here's the truth. This isn't a new version of you. This is the real version, freed from the expectations that once suffocated you. The version that was always there, waiting behind the walls of doubt and conditioning. The version that knows exactly who it is and what it carries. The version they hoped you would never discover. Because once someone discovers their own power, they stop being useful to those who rely on their weakness.
And that's why people shift around you. That's why they treat you differently now. That's why someone who once felt comfortable trying to control you suddenly feels fragile in your presence. They got too close. They felt something ancient, something sovereign, something uncontainable staring back at them. And it rattled them down to the places they never explore, the places where their own fear lives. You didn't lash out. You didn't attack. You didn't even raise your voice. But your energy sharpened, your awareness locked on, your presence expanded, and for a moment they realized exactly who they were standing in front of. You've had this happen before. Someone pushes the wrong button, says the wrong thing, steps on a boundary they thought was flexible, and suddenly your entire demeanor changes. The room gets still, the temperature shifts, your silence becomes heavy. Your eyes stop being soft and turn into something that sees through flesh and bone. And in that moment,
they understand something they never understood about you before. You are not a surface-level person. You are not someone who reacts emotionally just to react. You are someone who feels deeply, sees sharply, and responds only with purpose. And people fear purpose more than power. Power can be reasoned with. Power can be negotiated with. Power can be redirected. But purpose cannot be swayed. Purpose does not pause. Purpose does not shrink. And when someone feels purpose behind your presence, they know instantly that this is not a person to play with lightly. This is not a person whose boundaries can be tested. This is not a person who will back down because someone raised their voice or threw a tantrum. This is not a person who bows to intimidation, guilt, pressure, or manipulation. You have become someone they cannot mentally dominate. And without mental dominance, most people have nothing. That's why they fear you, even before you understand yourself. That's why they react before you do anything. That's why their instincts warn them before you open your mouth. They can feel the difference between someone who survived life and someone who was shaped by it. They can feel the difference between someone who wants acceptance and someone who wants truth. They can feel the difference between someone who hides and someone who watches. And you watch everything. You pick up micro-expressions. You notice tone shifts. You feel emotional inconsistencies. You read silence like a second language. You catch lies before they're spoken. And this terrifies them, because people who read the world too clearly are always treated like threats. Not because they want power, but because they cannot be controlled by falsehood. You make people confront who they really are, and most people hate who they really are. They've spent too long building masks out of fear and insecurity to tolerate someone who sees the cracks without even trying. But here's what they don't understand. Your awakening isn't about proving anything to them. It's not about dominance. It's not about revenge. It's not about retaliation. Your awakening is about alignment, aligning with the force inside you, aligning with the truth you suppressed, aligning with the instincts you were taught to doubt. Your awakening is about remembering who you were before the world convinced you that your power was a problem. And once you remember, nothing can stop what comes next. Because the real danger isn't when you get angry. The real danger isn't when you defend yourself. The real danger isn't when you raise your voice. The real danger is when you go calm, when your spirit goes still. When your eyes stop apologizing, when your energy stops shrinking, when your intuition stops being questioned. That's when the savage in you, the guardian, the fire, the truth, the force, steps forward. Not in violence, not in chaos, but in absolute presence. And presence like yours cannot be ignored. It cannot be softened. It cannot be erased. It cannot be contained in small rooms or small minds. Because when you go calm, something ancient moves through you. Something that remembers every moment you were underestimated. Something that remembers every time you held back out of politeness. Something that remembers every attempt to mold you, mute you, manage you, make you forget the dangerous simplicity of being your full self. That calm is not weakness, it is clarity. It is the moment you stop trying to convince the world of who you are and start being who you are. It is the moment the mask falls off, not from your face, but from theirs. Your calm is the moment they realize they misjudged you. Your calm is the moment their instincts scream before their mind can catch up. Your calm is the moment they understand that whatever script they rehearsed for dealing with you no longer applies. Because calm is your metamorphosis, rage can be dismissed as emotional, tears can be dismissed as sensitivity, raised voices can be dismissed as immaturity. But calm is a declaration. Calm means you've already decided what they don't want you to see. Calm means you've crossed a threshold they never prepared for. Calm means the savage inside you is no longer chained, not because you released it, but because it stepped out on its own. And this is the part that terrifies them. Your calm is not empty. Your calm is full of knowledge, full of awareness, full of the truth you stopped pretending you didn't know. Your calm is where your power finally breathes without restriction. Your calm is where your presence becomes undeniable. Your calm is where people finally feel the weight of everything you've endured, everything you've mastered, everything you've survived. The moment you go calm, you become something they can't interpret. And people fear what they can't interpret more than anything. Because interpretation gives them control. Interpretation lets them categorize you, soften you, shrink you into something manageable. But when you go calm, you stop giving them anything to hold on to. Your stillness becomes a mirror reflecting all their insecurities. Your silence becomes a doorway they're afraid to walk through. Your neutrality becomes the very thing that exposes their chaos. And suddenly they find themselves speaking too quickly, explaining too much, smiling too wide, because they feel the shift in the atmosphere that only you can create. You know that shift, the one where time seems to slow, where your thoughts sharpen, where your intuition expands to fill the entire room. The moment you feel more awake than anyone else there. The moment you feel the truth of every person standing in front of you. The moment you feel the edges of every lie, every insecurity, every attempt to disguise fear as superiority. That is the moment the savage inside you is not unleashed by force. It is revealed by clarity. And clarity is the one thing they hoped you'd never reach. Because clarity ends manipulation. Clarity ends power imbalances. Clarity ends the little psychological games people play when they think you don't notice. Clarity ends their ability to hide behind fake confidence and rehearsed arrogance. Clarity ends the illusion they've been clinging to. The illusion that they know you, understand you, control you, predict you. But the truth is, they never did. They only understood the version of you that was still asleep. They only understood the version of you that doubted your own intuition. They only understood the version of you that hesitated long enough for them to feel taller. But the moment your calm arrives, that version disappears, and suddenly they're left standing in front of someone they cannot decode. Someone who doesn't react the way they expected. Someone who sees through the facade they built. Someone who doesn't flinch at their attempts to provoke insecurity. Someone who doesn't respond to their attempts to regain control. Someone who stands in a stillness so powerful, it reveals the fragility of everyone else in the room. That's when they feel it in their bones, that unmistakable, primal recognition that you are not someone who can be shaken by shallow minds. And it terrifies them, because they've watched you grow without understanding how. They've watched you absorb pain without collapsing. They've watched you learn without announcing it. They've watched you walk through fire without burning. They've watched you survive storms that would have destroyed them. And worst of all, they've watched you rise quietly, without theatrics, without validation, without begging for acknowledgement. You became powerful without anyone giving you permission. And that is the kind of power people fear the most. Self-generated, self-sustained, self-realized. Somebody got too close once, remember? Someone who thought you were harmless, predictable, soft. easy to figure out. And then, without warning, they touched the edge of your truth and recoiled. They saw the razor behind your patience. They saw the fire behind your silence. They saw the intelligence behind your restraint. They saw the boundaries carved in steel. They saw the history in your eyes, the kind of history that creates warriors, not victims. The kind of history that builds savages, not fools. The kind of history that cannot be erased by anyone's opinion. And the moment they felt that truth, even for a heartbeat, they changed around you forever. Because once someone feels the savage, the guardian, the force, the presence, they can never pretend you're ordinary again. Their instincts won't let them. Their fear won't let them. Their memory won't let them. They may try to act normal, speak normally, pretend everything is fine, but their energy will always betray them. They will always tread lightly around you. They will always watch you more closely. They will always keep a safe distance from the part of you that shook something loose inside them, and they will never admit it. But you know when someone has felt your power. You know it from the way they speak to you now, the sudden respect, the hesitations, the calculated politeness, the way their voice lowers or their eyes avert, the way they become cautious, careful, measured. They're not doing it out of admiration, they're doing it out of fear. Fear not of harm, but of revelation. Fear that you see the truth of who they are. Fear that you understand them better than they understand themselves. Fear that you're no longer someone they can deceive. This is the kind of fear that makes people behave strangely. Excessively polite, overly defensive, awkwardly distant, uncomfortably attentive. It's instinct screaming, warning them that your presence touches places inside them they are not ready to confront. And the wilder part, you didn't provoke anything. You didn't unleash anything. You simply stopped suppressing. You allowed your real energy to breathe. And that alone was enough to tilt their entire perception of you. That alone was enough to remind them that they misread you. That alone was enough to expose their arrogance. That alone was enough to wake something ancient in your spirit. That alone was enough to shift the entire power dynamic in your favor. And now you stand here, calm, clear, awake, no longer bound by their expectations, no longer controlled by their narratives, no longer fooled by their masks. What comes next is not destruction. What comes next is illumination. The illumination of your power, your presence, your potential. The illumination of a self that no longer apologizes for its strength. And the illumination of a path that only reveals itself to those brave enough to stop shrinking. Because once you stop shrinking, everything around you must expand or crack under the weight of who you truly are. And they feel that. Oh, they feel it in the way your energy settles into the room like a force of nature reclaiming territory. They feel it in the way your silence suddenly has gravity. They feel it in the way your presence starts bending conversations around your center instead of theirs. They feel the shift even if they don't acknowledge it, because the body always tells the truth before the mind can lie. And now their body speaks louder than ever. The stiffness in their jaw, the flutter in their chest, the uneasiness in their breath, the subtle tension in their shoulders when you walk by. These are not coincidences. These are confessions. Confessions of fear, confessions of recognition, confessions of instinct, shouting what their ego refuses to admit. That you are not someone they can predict or confine. You are not someone whose boundaries they can test with impunity. You are not someone who bends to pressure disguised as concern. And you are certainly not someone who stays small for the comfort of those who fear growth. Because your growth was never gentle. Your growth was forged in fire. Through betrayal, through solitude, through disappointment. Through every moment, life tried to convince you that silence was safety. But silence became your training ground. Solitude became your sharpening. Every insult, every doubt, every underestimation became fuel for the transformation that now stands unshaken before them. They never understood that while they were trying to weaken you, you were being tempered. While they were trying to control you, you were becoming immune to their tactics. While they were trying to box you in, you were learning how to break every wall without lifting a single hand. That's what terrifies them now. The realization that you became powerful without their permission. You became powerful without their validation. You became powerful without their support. And worst of all, you became powerful while they were too busy underestimating you to notice. They thought you were predictable. They thought you were fragile. They thought you were manageable. But people who mistake your restraint for weakness always collapse when they encounter the truth. That restraint is not fear. Restraint is mastery. Restraint is focus. Restraint is the weapon of someone who knows exactly what they're capable of and doesn't need to display it to prove it. And the moment you stepped into that mastery, something inside them cracked. Not because you harmed them, not because you threatened them, not because you raised your voice, but because your existence now forces them to confront their illusions. They can no longer pretend they are above you. They can no longer pretend they understand you. They can no longer pretend they can control the narrative. Because your awakening rewrote the entire story. And everyone who once doubted you now feels the pressure of a truth they can't deny. You are not someone who rises quietly. You are someone who rises inevitably. And inevitability is what they fear most. Inevitability cannot be delayed. Inevitability cannot be argued with. Inevitability cannot be dismissed. And you, in this moment, have become inevitable. The world can no longer ignore the shift taking place inside you. Your mind sharpened, your energy expanded, your presence deepened. And the savage they once feared is no longer hidden beneath layers of doubt. It stands behind you, like a guardian, unblinking, unwavering, untouched by the noise of the world. This is where everything changes. Because awakened power does not move the way suppressed power moves. Awakened power does not chase validation. Awakened power does not beg to be understood. Awakened power does not plead for acceptance. Awakened power simply exists. And in its existence, it disrupts ecosystems built on insecurity. Awakened power is the silent earthquake beneath fragile foundations. Awakened power is the mirror that forces people to see their own limitations. Awakened power is the truth that no lie can stand against. And awakened power is exactly what you've stepped into. Now watch what happens next. Watch how the same people who dismissed you start orbiting around you. Watch how their tone shifts. Watch how their boundaries wobble. Watch how their certainty dissolves. Not because you demanded anything, but because your presence alone reveals the hierarchy they pretended didn't exist. You stand taller without trying. You speak quieter, but hit deeper. You walk through rooms without forcing anything, yet everything rearranges itself subconsciously around you. They don't know how to process it. They don't know how to defend against it. They don't know how to live with the reality that the person they once overlooked is now the one they quietly fear disappointing. And fear changes people. Fear makes them careful. Fear makes them observant. Fear makes them respectful in ways they never offered you before. But this respect isn't gifted. It's extracted by instinct. Instincts bow to power long before the mind accepts it. And right now, their instincts are kneeling. They felt the savage the moment they got too close. They felt the fire beneath your calm. They felt the depth beneath your silence. They felt the truth beneath your restraint. They felt the intensity beneath your stillness. And once someone feels that truth, it never leaves them. The memory stays carved in their intuition forever. You are not who you used to be, not because you changed, but because you returned. You returned to the strength you were conditioned to doubt. You returned to the intuition you were told to ignore. You returned to the power you were taught to hide. You returned to the version of yourself that existed long before the world tried to rewrite you. And this return is not temporary. This return is your evolution, an evolution they can't stop, can't slow, can't negotiate with. And as you evolve, you begin to understand something they never wanted you to realize, that the power they feared was never the kind that comes from dominance or aggression. The power they feared was the kind that comes from self-possession. The power they feared was the kind that comes from clarity. The power they feared was the kind that comes from a person who knows exactly who they are and refuses to shrink even 1 inch. The power they feared was the power of someone who no longer apologizes for existing. And now that you know who you are, the world has to adjust. People have to adjust. Energy has to adjust. The narrative has to adjust. Because you no longer fit into the mold carved by their insecurities. You no longer fit into the role assigned to you by their fear. You no longer fit into the box built by their expectations. You have expanded beyond every attempt to diminish you. And expansion is irreversible. You have no idea how powerful you are, but they do. They always did. And now, finally, you feel it too. And once power is felt, it cannot be unfelt. Once truth is remembered, it cannot be forgotten. Once the savage awakens, it cannot be put back to sleep.